Now we'll practice heel on the chair pose. So stand in front of the chair and place your left heel onto the chair seat. Hands on hips, and make sure that your right thigh isn't sitting forward, but rather pull the right thigh back and pull the left thigh back into the hip socket, and then lift the low belly up off the pelvis and continue ascending the trunk from bottom to top, lifting the belly and the rib cage, and then stretch your arms overhead. Be strong in those arms, stretching the hands open, thumbs pull back, shoulder blades snuggle in, and think of gathering the outer body in as you press the right thigh back. So the front of the right thigh pulls back towards the back of the leg. Stretch through the left leg and pull the left thigh bone back into the hip socket. Standing nice and tall, and then exhale, release the arms out to the sides and down, and we'll switch sides. So take your right heel up onto this chair seat now. Hands on hips. Lift the low belly. Pull the front of the left thigh back so that you're really standing over the left arch, and there's no sitting forward at all. Pull the right thigh back into the hip socket. Lift the belly, lift the side ribs, front ribs, back ribs. Stretch up through the waist, the armpits, the arms, open hands, thumbs reaching back, shoulder blades snuggling into the rib cage. Left thigh bone back. Make sure you're internally rotated at the very tops of the thighs. Squeeze your outer hips into the midline. Gather the outer body in and get taller. Breathing here as you balance. And then exhale and release your arms down and stand on 2 feet. And now we'll practice downward facing dog with a chair. So have your sticky mat against the wall and place the back of the chair at the wall. And rest your hands down on the seat of the chair and step your feet back into a down dog position. So we don't want the back to be rounded at all or the pelvis to be tucked. Rather, bend your knees and lift your buttocks way up high so that your pelvis will tilt on the femurs. So the buttocks is lifting, and let the front of your spine be very long. Stretch through the arms, stretch the elbows, the armpits, pull the outer hips back, pull the inner thighs back, pull the pubic bone back and up behind you. And let the head release down and let the chest release towards the toes. Think of the upper spine, the thoracic spine, deepening into the body towards the chest. And then lengthen the trunk. Lengthen the outsides of the trunk and lengthen the inner trunk. Lift the buttocks up. You can keep your knees bent here. That might help you lift the buttocks and pull it way back. And then lean into the chair as you step your feet forward. And now bring your sticky mat to the wall for a variation of Parshvottanasana. And step your left foot forward and right foot back. Hips are square. Feet are hips distance apart. And then lift your arms and lengthen your waist up through the arms, through the fingertips. So there's a big lift of the low belly and a lift of the rib cage up. Continue to square your hips. The back foot is at a 45-degree angle. Lift up through the musculature of the legs and then hinge forward at the hips to bring your fingertips to the wall. And walk your fingertips up the wall to get longer. Pull your hips back. Engage the musculature of the legs so that the muscles of the legs lift up from ankles to knees to hips. Think of the outer left hip pulling back and think of squeezing the outer hips towards each other. And let your head release down. And then push your fingertips off the wall to come all the way up to center. Exhale your arms out to the sides and down. Hands to hips. And then come to the other side, taking the right foot forward and left foot back. Back foot is at a 45-degree angle, hips are square, musculature of the legs are engaged. And lift the arms all the way up, lengthening the waist up, lift the rib cage three-dimensionally up off of the abdomen, off of the lower back. Extended arms, open hands. Draw the muscles of the legs up from ankles to knees to hips. And then hinge at the hips to take the fingertips to the wall and walk those fingertips up the wall as you pull your pelvis back. Extended arms and legs here, long in the trunk, long spine. Let your head release down and think of pinning your outer hips, gathering them in towards the midline. Pull that outer right hip back even more. Stay very active in your legs here. And then push off the wall to come back to center, lengthening the arms. And exhale, release the arms out to the sides and down. Hands to hips, and step your feet together. Now we'll practice a simple groin stretch. Start on your back with a neutral pelvis, neutral spine, knees bent and feet flat. Legs are parallel, and stretch your arms overhead. Lengthen out through the arms. And then stretch the legs as well and roll the thighs internally so the fronts of your legs point straight up to the ceiling. And be very long in your limbs and in your trunk here, creating length. And then keep that length in the trunk, in the left leg, and bring the right knee towards the chest, towards the right side of the chest, even towards the right armpit. And grab onto the right knee with both hands and clasped fingers. And stay long in the abdomen, long in the spine. Extend long through that left leg, roll the left thigh in, and ground the left thigh bone down towards the floor. And then grab the right knee with your right hand only, as you see here, and start to pull your right knee out to the right. Stretch your left arm to the left at shoulder height, and open up that right knee out to the side. Stay long in the left leg, and play with moving around that right knee up towards the armpit, down towards hip level. And see if you can explore a groin inner thigh stretch here as the right knee opens out to the right. And then bring the knee back to center and pause here. And then stretch your right leg out, lengthening it out as you bring your left knee towards the left side of your chest. And grab onto the top of the left shin with clasped fingers. And pull the left knee towards the left armpit as you stretch the right leg more. Internally rotate, especially at the very top of the right thigh, and ground the right thigh down. Stay awake in your feet, toes spreading. Long spine. Don't let your abdomen become hardened. A receding, long abdomen. Open chest, shoulder blades sliding down your back. And then stretch the right arm to the right as you take the left knee in the left hand only and start to pull the knee over to the left so the knee stays bent. And you open that left knee out to the left, staying active in your right leg. And play with some movement here, taking your left knee up towards the armpit or down towards hip level. Explore the range of motion here as you enjoy the groin opening. Reach the inner right foot forward and take your knee out to the side even more, deepening the stretch. And then take your knee back to the center. And then place your left foot down. Bend your right knee and place your right foot down. Now we'll practice Supta Padangusthasana. So lay down on your back and have a strap nearby. And release the flesh of the buttocks away from the lower back. Thighs are parallel. Inner thighs and groins are relaxed. Pelvis is heavy and relaxed. And stretch your arms overhead along the floor to lengthen the trunk. Lengthen through the waist, the armpits, the abdomen. Lengthen the front of your spine and stretch and extend your elbows. Open the hands and the feet. And then take your strap and place the strap over the right heel. And then start to stretch the left leg along the floor. Internally rotate the left thigh. Lengthen the spine headwards. Let the abdomen be relaxed and long. Elbows wide, shoulder blades sliding down the back. Kick your right heel up to open up the back of the right leg. Internally rotate at the very top of the left thigh and pull the right outer hip away from the right waist. So you can keep your right knee bent a little bit, that's fine. Just kick your right heel up so that you're feeling an elongation of the back of the right leg. Imagine the back of the right knee spreading and opening and lengthening. Breathe into the sensations here. Here you can imprint a long spine and an open chest even while you're stretching your hamstrings. And then bend your right knee, bend your left knee, both feet flat, stretch your arms overhead, neutralize and lengthen the trunk, relaxed in the pelvis area. And then lasso the strap over your left heel and kick your left heel up towards the ceiling. Pull your left outer hip away from the left waist. And internally rotate the right thigh as you start to stretch your right leg long. Ground the right thigh bone down. Be long in both sides of your belly. Elbows wide, shoulders moving down towards the sticky mat. Kick the left heel up to spread open the back of the left knee. So the knee can stay bent, but energetically lengthen the left leg. Rolling the right thigh in, pulling the left outer hip away from the left waist, organizing the tissue and the bones and the muscles here as you stretch, creating order and length. And then bend both knees, feet flat, reach your arms up overhead, parallel legs, relaxed in the groins. Now we'll practice legs up the wall pose. So place your sticky mat against the wall and then sit down so that one side of your body is very close to the wall, and then swing your back onto the floor and your legs up the wall. And scoochie yourself in very close to the wall so that you feel the backs of your legs and your buttocks resting on the wall. Stretch the legs up, stretch the inner feet up, and extend your arms onto the sticky mat up overhead. Long arms and long legs, long trunk. Soft, long belly settling down towards the anterior spine. Toes are open. And stay active here, lengthening the limbs, keeping the chest open, grounding the inner thighs and the tops of your thighs towards the wall. And then adjust your arm position Take your arms by your sides and let your shoulder blades slide down your back and come into a more restful pose now. Stay present and deepen your breath. And now bend your knees and roll onto one side.